Representative Bush, Representative Raskin, Representative Pocket for organizing this very moving hearing. As our ranking member Raskin said, we don't unfortunately get to hear any of this on our regular committee, which is just shocking that you would have such a consequential decision and not actually hear the testimonials of people being impacted by it. So I just want to thank you for putting this together. And it was very emotional testimony. I really appreciate you sharing that. I know it's not easy to share that, let alone to do it in such a public forum. I was very moved in particular by Ms. Durawar's story, in part because it has parallels to my own. My parents were immigrants from India. They came and talked about education. And I was struck by your comments about how reproductive rights and access to abortion is not just about health, and it's not just about making sure people are safe, but it's also about education. It turns out that, as you know, you're not alone. I mean, the statistics are overwhelming. When people have access to abortion, a 71% increase in the completion of the degree. 71%. We know that when people have access to abortion, they get more pay. We know that when people have access to abortion, they are more likely to be able to participate in the labor force. So I'd like you and anyone else to speak about how the denial of this fundamental right is not just an affront to dignity, but actually really entrenching inequality in our country and is really hurting women from getting the education, the pay, the jobs as equals in a society. That's why I've always believed that Roe and the right to an abortion is a matter of equal protection, of a gender equality. And Mr. Arwar, I'd love any of your comments.
Of course. And thank you so much for that question and noticing. In addition to what you just shared, we know that people are less likely to have credit scores good enough to purchase homes, and home owning is something that can really improve the success rate of you passing on generational wealth, right? So it really is about who has power and not just about abortion care, right? The other thing that I think a lot about, of course, because of where I work and the organization I lead, is the connection to domestic violence. And violence is also something that holds people back from what we think of as the American dream, right? And we know that recently the Domestic Violence National Hotline came out with a study saying that the reports of DV to their hotline have gone up 99% since the overturn of Roe. 99%, and that is not a coincidence. Think about the demographic of people that are calling, right? And so when we talk about abortion, it's not just about reproductive health. It's not just about health. It's about so many other things. It's about who has power in society, and I feel like we need to continue to put that forward. And the other thing that I want to say is, and it was mentioned a little bit earlier, is that, you know, although this is happening in states where there are restrictions, there's a huge impact on states like mine. On states like New York, we're seeing a backlog. We're seeing longer wait times, which is a huge issue if you're talking about gestational age and whether you can still get abortion care, whether you can find someone who can do it for you, right? And our abortion fund in New York, which is severely underfunded, was seeing 20% of callers from outside of New York before Roe. Now they're seeing 37%. And in Queens, where my community is from, a clinic saw a 300% increase in patients from Texas alone. So this is a nationwide crisis, regardless of what happens with this FDA case.